So, have you ever just looked at a handful of Bible verses, maybe from totally different books, different authors, different times, and just thought, how? How do these even relate?
Oh, absolutely. Like you pull one from Chronicles, another from Ezekiel, maybe one from Paul's letters.
Right, and on the surface, they seem completely random. Like, what does an ancient king's screw up have to do with, say, a runaway slave in the New Testament?
Exactly. It feels disconnected.
But today, in this deep dive, that's our mission, isn't it? To see if maybe, just maybe, these apparently scattered verses actually weave together a single powerful story.
A story about God, about us, about his big plan.
Yeah, centered on God's character, our own accountability, and, well, this overarching plan of redemption. I think you might find some surprising connections, maybe a few aha moments.
Let's dig in. Where do we start piecing this together?
Well, let's start with the human side of things, our tendency to be unfaithful. Take King Joash. This is wild. He's basically saved and put on the throne by this priest, Jehoiada.
A real mentor figure, yeah.
Totally. But how does Joash repay him? He murders Jehoiada's son, Zechariah, who was a prophet, just speaking truth. It's a, well, it's a shocking betrayal.
And Zechariah's last words, "May the Lord see and avenge." They weren't just words, were they? They were prophetic. Judgment did come.
It really did. And you know what makes it worse?
No. What?
The false prophets running around at various times, like Ezekiel talks about, they're promising peace when there was no peace.
Right. It's like spiritual malpractice, basically. Telling people everything's fine when it's absolutely not.
And that blinds people, doesn't it? Prevents them from actually dealing with the real issues, from repenting.
Which just makes the eventual judgment deeper, sadly. It delays the reckoning.
And God's reaction,
Yeah.
it's not always what you'd expect. Sometimes it's like he steps back. Hosea has God saying something like, I'll go back to my place until they admit their guilt and seek my face.
In their misery, they will earnestly seek me. It's this idea that God might withdraw his felt presence, not to abandon, but actually to create a longing.
Exactly, to make people realize their need for him, that suffering, it can actually be a catalyst. That's kind of an aha moment right there.
Mm-hmm. But suffering alone, that's not the magic bullet. Isaiah has this really powerful image. It's like giving birth to wind.
Oof. Yeah, I remember that. All the pain, all the struggle.
Like labor pains, intense anguish, but what does it produce? Nothing.
Yeah.
No salvation, no deliverance for the nation. Why? Because it wasn't paired with faithfulness. It shows that, just going through hard times doesn't automatically fix things if the heart isn't right.
So much effort for wind. It highlights the futility if faith isn't there.
Precisely.
So, okay, if that's the human pattern, unfaithfulness, ignored warnings, unproductive suffering, what's the divine answer? How do we break that cycle?
Well, Deuteronomy gives a pretty clear instruction, doesn't it? It's about constant engagement with God's word.
Right. Teach it to your children. Talk about it constantly when you sit, when you walk, when you lie down, when you get up. It's about weaving it into the fabric of life.
Yeah, making it part of your everyday rhythm. That's presented as the antidote, the way to build resilience against turning away.
Okay, that shifts us towards God's side of the equation, his character. Romans brings this up powerfully, quoting God saying, Jacob I loved, but Esau I hated. And then Paul adds, I will have mercy on whom I will have mercy.
That passage, it definitely challenges our human ideas about what's fair, doesn't it?
It really does. It
Yeah.
stresses that God's mercy isn't something we earn. It flows from his nature, his sovereign choice.
And this connects beautifully to something much earlier, the rainbow, after the flood in Genesis. It's not just a pretty sky phenomenon.
No, it's a symbol, a promise.
The cosmic promise.
Yeah.
God establishing this covenant sign, saying he'll remember his promise not to destroy everything by water again. It shows his commitment, his faithfulness, even when humanity messes up badly. It's judgment and grace side by side.
Which brings us really to the ultimate solution God provides. Hebrews puts it so clearly, talking about Christ.
Ah, yes, the shift to the new covenant.
It says Jesus didn't enter the holy place with the blood of animals, like the old priests did, again and again.
Right, those sacrifices were temporary, repetitive.
But Jesus entered once for all by his own blood and secured what? Eternal redemption. That's huge. His sacrifice wasn't temporary, it was permanent, complete.
And think about how that sacrifice came about, even through, well, human malice and political calculation.
You mean Caiaphas, the high priest?
Exactly. John points out that Caiaphas advised the council that it was better for one man should die for the people, purely politically motivated, to save their skins with the Romans.
Just cold, cynical advice.
But John interprets it differently, doesn't he? He sees it as an unwitting prophecy from God through Caiaphas about Jesus' substitutionary death, dying for the people in their place. God used even that evil intent for his ultimate good purpose.
Wow. God's sovereignty working even through human schemes. And the impact, the practical change this brings. Look at Philemon.
Ah, such a short letter, but so powerful.
Paul writing about Onesimus, this runaway slave, and he tells Philemon, Onesimus' master, to receive him back, not just as property, which he legally was.
But as a brother in the Messiah, I mean, that's radical.
Totally radical. It shatters the social structure. Paul even offers to pay any debt Onesimus owes. It shows how Christ's sacrifice doesn't just fix our relationship with God, it fundamentally changes our relationships with each other, creates a new kind of humanity based on forgiveness and equality.